And almonds.
Isn't that a little brown sugar I taste?
Taste what they've done to oatmeal.
You gotta taste it.
Looking for whole wheat total?
Grape nuts.
You'll need 4 boxes to equal the vitamin and mineral nutrition in just 1 box of total.
Okay, shredded wheat.
You'll need to put away 12 boxes. Total, 1 bowl, 100%. No other cereal has more vitamin and mineral nutrition.
I think I'll have total, sweetheart. Total.
If it's whole wheat total, it's total nutrition. And for a better cornflake, try Total Cornflakes. Better tasting and twice the nutrition of Kellogg's cornflakes.
It couldn't have happened to a nicer vegetable. When Betty Crocker created new microwave potatoes with tender russet slices and creamy sauces, something delicious happened. New microwave potatoes from Betty Crocker. She's the best thing that ever happened to potatoes.
And now a Russian dance in honor of my new stroganoff. Hey, whoa!
You'll fall for new stroganoff, too. Egg noodles, real sour cream mix, and your hamburger.
Hamburger helper.
New stroganoff.
Makes a great meal.
What are you eating? Kix. Is it good? Uh-huh. What's in it? Chocolate? No. Marshmallows? Mm-mm. Is that the prize inside? Nope. Can I have some? Okay.
What Kix has is a corn crunch that kids like. And Kix is low in sugar. That's what moms like. Kix. Kid tested, mother approved.
This is NewsCenter at 11. Time is running out for Tacoma native and convicted murderer Ted Bundy. He's scheduled to die in less than 5 hours. Good evening, I'm Mary Leonard. The United States Supreme Court refused tonight to block Bundy's appointment in the electric chair for tomorrow morning. The justices rejected an emergency request to keep Bundy alive until a formal appeal could be filed. They voted it down 5-4. The Florida Supreme Court tonight also denied a stay of execution for the former law student. Psychiatrist James Dobson spent most of the day talking with Bundy and listening to confessions of murder.
Deal of remorse. He wept several times while talking to me. He expressed great regret and remorse for what he had done for the families that were hurting. A time or two where I asked him explicit questions, he was so choked up that he was not able to answer me. He has resolved his relationship with God. He's a believer in Jesus Christ, and he feels that he's been forgiven by God for his sins, even though they are virtually unforgivable on this earth.
State investigator for Washington also spent some time with Bundy today and said his summary of the whole day is Bundy was born to kill. Bundy's lawyers are grasping at straws tonight with only 5 hours left to save their client from death. This weekend, Bundy confessed to more murders than police expected him to. They include the 8 Ted murders in the Seattle area and the brutal slaying of then Central Washington University student Susan Rancourt. Now the latest report from Stark, Florida.
As night fell on the Florida State Prison, Ted Bundy began living what may be the last few hours of his life. Bundy has described himself as a cold-hearted person, but a prison spokesman said earlier the condemned man was emotional, sometimes crying and accepting the finality of his situation.
I think that's a big part of it. It appeared to me that he realizes that there's only a few hours left.
That's just fine with most of the people in North Florida who have waited a decade for Bundy's death sentence to be carried out. Today, those feelings began coming out with road signs and these not-so-subtle T-shirts created by a former Utah man.
I'm doing it to make a statement. I think it's time Ted Bundy went.
As the death hour draws near, Bundy will be placed on a rigid schedule designed to bring him to the electric chair just after sunrise tomorrow.
After 1 a.m., there's nothing planned until about 5. He'll be offered a final meal of steak and eggs at 5 a.m. tomorrow. We'll be picking up witnesses here at this location at 5:30 to take over for viewing the execution, of course. At 5:30 or thereabouts, they'll shave inmate Bundy's head and lower right leg. He'll be showered, dressed in dark blue trousers, a white shirt, and will be let in for execution at 7 a.m.
In the meantime, Bundy waits, as does the horde of media here to cover the death of one of America's most infamous killers. In past years, Bundy has received an 11th-hour reprieve. But for now, the death count goes on.
Again, the federal and state courts have ruled against Bundy's appeals tonight, and he is expected to go to the electric chair at 4 o'clock in the morning our time. His lawyers may still make a last-minute appeal of some sort, but officials say it's pretty definite he will be executed. Meanwhile, prison officials are surprised at the lack of protest involved in this execution. They say usually human rights activists campaign outside the prison when death sentences are being carried out. They aren't there this time. Many residents here in Yakima are for the death sentence being carried out as soon as possible.
Concerned he's done his harm, so he should pay.
I think he should be executed. He deserves it.
Do you think it'll happen?
I hope so. For justice sake, if nothing else.
Justice is being served. I just feel sorry for the victims that what he's done to the victims.
There's no question about his guilt, and I don't think he should cost the taxpayers any more.
Well, I think he deserves what he's going to get. Should have happened 8 years ago.
Do you think it's going to happen, though?
I think so. I don't think they'll put a stop to it now, especially after he's admitted to all the other killings that he's done. It's an eye for an eye as far as I'm concerned.
If all goes as the state of Florida plans, by the time most of us get up tomorrow morning, Ted Bundy will be dead. The Yakima police are asking for your help in finding 2 men suspected of beating up a cab driver early this morning. It happened just after 1 a.m. The Diamond cab driver picked up 2 men at Nob Hill and Rock Avenue. When they got to the intersection of West Pierce and Cornell, one of the passengers pulled a pistol on the cabbie, took the driver's fares, then hit him over the head. Police described the suspects as Hispanic males. Well, a Yakima man trying to beat the odds of a state lottery game is behind bars tonight. 22-year-old Richard Lawson pled guilty to fraud and forgery this morning in Superior Court. He was accused of altering a lottery ticket. Lawson will spend the next 30 days in jail, then give 120 hours to community service. Well, we know the spread of drug use is infiltrating the Yakima Valley, but what about the war against it? Tonight, Frank Glaspie, the director for the Yakima County-wide Coalition for the War on Drugs, took his message to Union Gap. Glaspie wants the anti-drug effort to spread throughout the valley thicker than the drug problem itself. Union Gap City Council said it was enlightened by the talk, which gave them all the details they need to know about how to get involved in the county's war.
To Toppenish, we're looking to Wapato, and every city to provide us the necessary information and to provide us the strategies that you would like to use to work on the drug problem in Union Gap.
Union Gap Mayor Ron Krebs said the council gave Glaspie its full support and plans to get some local effort going. The Yakima School District is making a big effort these days to find a replacement for 15-year leader Dean Starr, who's retiring after this year. NewsCenter's Dean De La Rosa tells us the applications have been cut off, and now the school board has to find someone ready to go to work.
Yakima School Board members are facing one of their toughest challenges. That was the unspoken theme of a news conference today. As the district goes into a period of expanding enrollment and tight budgets, the board has to pick a new superintendent.
We had received 40 applications from 20 states for the position of Yakima Superintendent of Public Instruction.
Schuessler says the new superintendent will have to meet the needs of more than 11,000 students.
We want people who are willing to include all students, who have a very positive attitude about the ability of all students to learn, who are very interested in and sympathetic with the kinds of cultural diversity which we enjoy in this community, that sort of thing.
No matter what kinds of credentials the new superintendent brings to Yakima, he faces some serious challenges. Migrant education, drug use, and of course the dropout rate. For instance, here at Davis High School, the dropout rate is enormous according to state education officials, more than 50%.
The board will begin interviewing 5 finalists next month. At the conclusion of each interview, they'll be presented to the public in an open meeting. The board hopes to announce the new superintendent by March 6th. In Yakima, Dean De La Rosa, NewsCenter.
Board officials say there was only one local applicant for the job. Meanwhile, Starr is said to be thinking of applying himself for a state legislative position. Sources in Olympia confirm he'll run as a Democrat for the House seat currently held by Republican Shirley Doty. Well, winter is back in the valley. When we come back, Peter Fields will let us know if it'll get any colder. And later, the anti-abortion movement is making its point very clear on the latest reconsideration of Roe versus Wade.
On occasion, Buster and I venture east of the Rockies to visit relatives. Sometimes his, sometimes mine. So I've tasted the coffees they serve back east. Unfortunately, you can't get MJB. Out here, of course, MJB has been the standard of premium coffee flavor since 1881. And since 1881, people have been moving west. Yeah, I know. Probably a coincidence.
MJB. Premium coffee, cup to cup, century to century.
Next time we're taking this with us.
Introducing JB's Home-Style Chicken Pot Pie, Green Garden Salad, and Fresh Baked Biscuit for just $4.29. You'll love JB's Chicken Pot Pie with green peas, diced carrots, and baby onions, all combined with juicy chunks of tender chicken, smothered with creamy chicken gravy, and served under a flaky golden crust. Add a garden fresh salad and JB's Fresh Baked Biscuit, and you've got JB's new Home-Style Chicken Pot Pie, fresh salad, and buttermilk biscuit for just $4.29.
Peter Fields is certified by the National Weather Association.
It's getting darn cold outside, Peter.
Yeah, darn tootin' cold.
Yeah. Is it going to get much colder, or are we going to see more spring come in?
Well, I think it's going to get colder before it gets warmer, Mary. It looks like we got some real cool temperatures on the way. Let's take a look outside. It's 23 degrees, and if you live in some of the outlying areas like White Swan, it's already probably in the teens in your neck of the woods. Barometer is rising from 30.29, our humidity 45%. The winds now out of the east at 7. Our morning low was 15, and the high this afternoon barely struggling to 38. Normals for this time of year are lows of 19 and highs of about 37, so we were pretty close to normal today. Let's take a look at our weather watchers. Up in Selah, 19 already, and in Toppenish, 26 degrees, and in Sunnyside, already down at 25 degrees, according to John Bradshaw over there. A real chilly night, and the wind's blowing, too, around Sunnyside, I may add. Let's take a look around the state. Temperatures as a whole really have dropped. 13 already in Spokane, 23 in Moses Lake, and already a cool 20 over in Walla Walla, while the Tri-City is sitting at 23. Stampede Pass, 17 degrees. Let's take a look at that satellite photograph. Again, our Goes West satellite has gone bye-bye, and we're going to have to deal with looking at this national map and see what we can get out of it. Nonetheless, we do see some high and mid-level clouds beginning to move through, and as these come across, it'll put a little halo around the moon, but don't worry, it won't snow. No wintry weather on the way, just some partly cloudy conditions later on tonight. Now, let's show you another quickie here. This is a better shot along the west coast, showing those high and mid-level clouds moving across as a weak trough of low pressure slowly drifts across the region. But once that gets through, we'll be under the influence of a very large area of high pressure, which will settle right over the central area of Idaho. That'll give us some customary night and mid-morning low clouds and fog. So we have that to look forward to for the next couple days. Nationwide, a little dash of snow around Idaho and portions of Montana for tomorrow. Otherwise, a mixed bag of snow and rain across Arizona, southern Nevada. A little bit of rain occurring across parts of the Tennessee Valley into the deep south. Otherwise, lots of sunshine across the rest of the nation. Let's take a look at the forecast tonight. Increasing clouds, a low temperature of about 19 in town. Try about 10 to 15 in some of the outlying suburbs. Westerly winds at 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies. High and mid-level clouds. High temperature should be about 30 to 35 degrees. Northerly winds at 5. And let's take a look at that extended forecast. Fog and clouds. Brrr, it's going to be a cold one, probably right on through the end of the week. And we'll be lucky if we get lots of sun in the afternoon. Otherwise, we'll just look forward to the fog and clouds as our cool, wintry weather continues.
We didn't see a lot of fog today. It was a nice sunny one, but it's going to start settling in again.
Yeah, it looks like we got some more fog.
Okay, thanks a lot, Peter. Still to come on NewsCenter, we'll find out what will be at the top of the priority list for state legislators this week, and later, a quick decision in Union Gap turns a business away from the area.
When raging floodwaters stormed through the town of Pueblo, Colorado in 1921, the people of U.S. West helped save hundreds of lives.
Mrs. Jenkins, move to higher ground. The water's coming. Your little boy is safe, Jenny.
55 years later, when a collapsing wall of the Teton Dam unleashed its waters, the people of U.S. West again leaped into action.
Dad, hi.
Setting up an emergency phone center within hours by shipping equipment from out of state. Today, the companies of U.S. West are still helping people cope with the sudden furies of nature.
Ray's towing, this is Ray.
I skidded off the road at Summit and Crest Line.
With state-of-the-art cellular phones and the latest advances in communications technology.
Hi, it's me.
Somebody wants to talk to you.
Keeping the dreams of the West safe.
Hi, Mom. When are you going to be home?
Real soon, honey.
U.S. West.
They say the best sweet basil outside of Italy grows right here in the Cascade foothills around Mount Si.
Conducive to growing fine herbs.
Basil.
Thriftway supporting local organic growers. This is lemon thyme.
Look into the faces of Washington and you'll see Thriftway, or Washington's food store.
A 16-year-old Supreme Court decision is prompting big protest in our nation's capital. The protesters want the High Court to reverse its Roe v. Wade decision legalizing abortion. NBC's John Cochran has today's story.
Bush could have done without this on his first working day. Demonstrations on a divisive issue, abortion, at a time when Mr. Bush is trying hard to be a conciliatory president. But it was Mr. Bush's bad luck that today was the observance of the 16th anniversary of a Supreme Court decision that divides the nation. In St. Louis, church bells tolled in support of anti-abortion demonstrations around the country. In Atlanta, anti-abortion activists marched with the backing of the Georgia governor, who proclaimed this Respect for Life Day. In Washington, more than 60,000 gathered across from the White House, optimistic that the Supreme Court may soon overturn its 1973 ruling legalizing abortion, and confident of support from the new president, especially after a telephoned message from him.
I think the Supreme Court's decision in Roe versus Wade was wrong and should be overturned. And I think when it comes to abortion, there's a better way. The way of adoption, the way of life.
In my judgment, the President of the United States gave the strongest, the most powerful, and the most encouraging message to the pro-life movement that I have ever heard.
But some were miffed at getting only a one-way phone call instead of a real meeting.
And I have told the President's staff that that was not an adequate way to deal with our pro-life movement.
For the face-to-face talk, Mr. Bush sent Vice President Quayle, part of the Bush plan to give Quayle some high-profile jobs, at least for a while.
It's important for me and for the President, this administration, to once again commit ourselves to those people that are not yet born.
President Bush also backs a constitutional amendment that would outlaw abortion. If he's lucky, the Supreme Court will let George Bush off the hook by overturning its decision and making abortion a question for the states to decide. If he's unlucky, the president will have to push for a constitutional amendment which most Americans seem to oppose. John Cochran, NBC News, the White House.
The Supreme Court today had other matters than Bundy and abortion on hand today. One ruling it issued drastically limits the power of states and cities to earmark public works contracts for minority-owned businesses. 3 of the 9 justices voted against the decision, calling it a giant step backward for racial equality. The court majority says the Richmond, Virginia plan amounted to reverse discrimination against whites. Taxes and child welfare will top the agenda in Olympia this week. Governor Booth Gardner will make a pitch for his income tax proposal before the Senate Ways and Means Committee tomorrow. Also up for consideration will be the Children's Initiative. If that's passed, the measure could mean an increase in the sales tax of nearly a penny. The initiative hopes to raise $360 million for children's education and welfare programs. Coming up next in sports, Ross Perich shows us this week's Fabulous Four, and we'll hear from Kyle Foy on why he chose to play football at Washington State.
What's the best-selling car in the world? Ford Escort by a country mile.
And your Northwest Ford dealer is making Escort one of this month's best values, with savings on options like rear window defroster, AM/FM stereo, power steering, and more. Plus, get $500 cash back or 4.9% financing and save up to $1,266 on the world's #1 selling car. The Escort is now at your Northwest Ford dealer at the very best price.
No more brown bag lunches or rush hour runs. All we'll be chasing now is blue sky and the sun. Already did my time and now we're cashing in, thanks to the help of a family friend.
The friend of the family offers investment help from a banker or a broker or an insurance agent, or all three, because you want to retire from work, not from life.
Coming back, I don't know when, that's just one of the dividends.
At Shopko's Optical Center, our precision ground lenses come with ultraviolet coating and a 1-year breakage guarantee at no extra charge. That's what we mean by good care and a good buy.
The next time you're in Shopko, stop into the Optical Center. We'll adjust your glasses, free, anytime, no matter where you bought them, no matter how many times you need them adjusted. That's good care and a good buy.
Well, I got a phone call today back in the newsroom. You were gone, asking when the Final Four are going to be here in the Northwest.
Well, it's March Madness. I don't know the exact dates, but the Kingdom will host it. And some of the teams we're going to talk about tonight may, in fact, make it all the way here to the Northwest in the Final Four. Reason for celebration right now, anyway, in Champaign, Illinois. For the first time in 37 years, the University of Illinois is on top of the college basketball world. The Fighting Illini, undefeated this season, replaced Duke as #1. The Blue Devils, of course, lost twice last week. As for top 20 action tonight, a spectacular Big Ten clash at Michigan. The 10th-ranked Wolverines hosting number 16 Indiana Hoosiers. The Steel, Jay Edwards on the jam. Michigan, though, returns to favor. Glenn Rice out in front. The Wolverines led it 34-32 at half, and the always amicable Bobby Knight chewing out somebody. It came down to this. Indiana up by 1, 8 seconds left. The Wolverines get 2 chances. The Hoosiers, though, hang on to win their 13th straight. 6-0 in the Big Ten now, 71-70. They'll face #1 Illinois on Saturday. One other Big East affair. John Thompson is back. His Hoyas are alive and well. In the NBA, the Warriors come back to earth. Their 8-game win streak is over easily. Herb Williams, 21 points and a team record 29 rebounds, leads the Pacers win. One other, the Spurs snap a 7-game skid. That's the way to do it when you face the horrible Heat. And the Sonics and Blazers in a good one. Here we are, back on camera tomorrow night in Portland. They may still be partying in the streets of San Francisco. Over 300,000 49er faithful took the afternoon off to toast their team, football's new world champions. The vogue mode of transportation, of course, the cable car. Some 49ers, though, like Super Bowl MVP Jerry Rice, opted for a nice convertible. The victory parade, the exclamation mark to an extraordinary Super Bowl yesterday when Joe Montana rallied the Niners in the final seconds against Cincinnati. 92 yards in 11 plays. The winning toss from Montana to John Taylor here with just 34 seconds left. San Francisco's now won 3 Super Bowls in the 80s. The only drama left of this story, will Bill Walsh be around to go for #4?
Have any more goals other than I love my work. Even though at times some of these gentlemen don't. But I love it, and it's part of my life.
If it was left up to me, I would, like for Bill Walsh to come back for maybe 2 or 3 more years. He's been a big inspiration to me. Right now, we feel like Bill is going to come back next year. I feel he's not ready to give up the game right now.
We'll find out in a few days when 49ers coach Bill Walsh meets with owner Eddie DeBartolo, and that will decide whether or not he decides to hang it up. Locally in football, West Valley linebacker Kyle Foy is verbally committed to attend Washington State. Foy is so positive Pullman's the place for him, he turned down recruiting trips to Oregon and Washington. A personal visit by Coach Dennis Erickson and Foy's official visit to Pullman convinced Kyle he's ready to become a Coug.
I wanted to stay close to home and
have my family come watch my games with my friends and have not to go too far away. And I really like the community up there, too, and how small it is, and it reminds me of home.
The Cougs' recent success and victory in the Aloha Bowl played a big role in Foy's decision, but Kyle, would you really be packing for Pullman if the Cougs were just mediocre this year?
That's a good question. I don't know about that, but this year their season did help me out a lot because I think they're on the rise of growing a lot due to Dennis Erickson being there.
Commitment to the Cougs official, February 8th, when he signs his letter of intent. That's the first day recruits can do such. About the Huskies, they land one of the top recruits on the entire West Coast today, Tommy Smith, a running back from Antelope Valley, California. That's fitting for a running back. He runs like one. Announces today he's going to UW to play for Don James. And finally, on this last Look at a Monday, we share with you our Fabulous Four.
Movie, constantly intermixing makeshift reenactments with interview statements from the actual people involved, investigators, attorneys, and the young man now believed to be the killer, who at the time was a prosecution witness claiming he let his
pair of games. At number 2, Rams, 122-pound wrestler Brian Geffro, still undefeated at 18-0 after a last-second win over Sunnyside's Donnie Mendoza Saturday. And finally, topping this week's Fabulous Four, another Ram, basketball player Matt Bush, 28 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 assists in West Valley's upset of number 9 Eastmont Friday. But Matt's more than a scorer. He's a senior leader on a very young ball club.
Well, the role I'm playing this year compared to last year is totally different. And I'm trying to bring along the sophomores, make them play harder. And, you know, it's been pretty much a challenge, but I think they're improving a lot.
Matt's sort of a quiet leader. He doesn't come out and, you know, make a big scene or anything like that. He does it by example and just his leadership on the court. This is how we get it done.
I don't know. Those were
what was that?
Gremlins on a Blue Monday here.
I thought you changed your voice.
What it was Lance Wright of East Valley had 44 points to help the Red Devils to 2 dramatic last-second wins. The other one was Kathy Weiss-Marshall from Kittitas, also 44 points as the Coyotes split a pair of games. Okay, I don't know where that voice came from.
Thanks a lot, Russ. Stay tuned, and we'll have Union Gap news when we come back.
Daryl, more pecani sauce.
Here you go.
This ain't Pace pecani sauce.
So?
Pace is made with fresh vegetables and spices by folks in San Antonio who know what pecani sauce should taste like.
This stuff's made in New York City. New York City!
That really chaps my hide.
Pick up the original. Pick up the Pace.
Bruce Hornsby in the Range. Thursday, January 26th at Tri-Cities Coliseum. Bruce Hornsby in the Range.
That's just the way. Reserve seats available at the Coliseum box office or charge by phone 509-783-9999. KNDO and KNDO Television welcomes Bruce Hornsby in the Range.
Introducing JB's Home-Style Chicken Pot Pie, Green Garden Salad, and Fresh Baked Biscuit for just $4.29. You'll love JB's Chicken Pot Pie with green peas, diced carrots, and baby onions, all combined with juicy chunks of tender chicken, smothered with creamy chicken gravy, and served under a flaky golden crust. Add a garden fresh salad and JB's Fresh Baked Biscuit, and you've got JB's new Home-Style Chicken Pot Pie, fresh salad, and buttermilk biscuit for just $4.29.
A Tri-Cities businessman wanted to set up a massage parlor in Union Gap. NewsCenter's Robert Vickers says residents apparently rubbed him the wrong way.
The massage parlor that almost would have opened for business in this vacant building in downtown Union Gap, right between this small engine repair shop and Hoffman's radiator repair. Dale Hoffman and his father rent the other 2 business spaces, but the idea of letting someone set up a massage parlor wasn't Dale's. It was his father's.
And I asked him what was going in, and he told me, and I just about had a Hemi.
Dale says his father thought the massage parlor would be for medical purposes. He had no idea what kind of business a massage parlor can be. But area merchants had a pretty good idea, and they weren't too happy about it.
I'm glad it's not coming into Union Gap.
Well, I've been upset about it. I don't need that kind of stuff next to our business. I'm not for it at all.
We're a small town, we're a friendly town, and I don't think that a massage parlor would fit into our